Here we go. Hey, everybody. This is Peter Palmiotti of Human Art Studio, and this is Making Comics and Art, episode 162. And today I'm working on page 25 of Retro. That means only 4 pages left to ink. Thank God. Almost done. Almost there. But today it's all about Sean. Sean Forney, welcome.
Hey.
It's going very good.
Thanks for inviting me on, man.
My pleasure, man. Yeah, it's I watched your show the other day, and we have Leonardo saying hello to both of us. I watched your show the other day, and it's like we've been following each other for centuries. I want to say, I don't know, years.
Right.
Always a fan of your work, and just figure it's time to get you on, just chit chat about what you're doing, what you're up to, and get into it, nitty gritty.
Awesome. Yeah. It's definitely been a lot of years that we've followed each other and whatnot. So it's good to actually get to interact a little more in person, so to speak.
Right. Yeah, this is today's in person.
Yeah. The new modern in person via the internet.
So for those that don't know you or your work, you can give a brief bio, get into it.
Sure. So I don't know, I started working professionally, doing oddball freelance stuff. Probably around 2004 was when I started doing it full time. And since then I've worked on any number of small press independent comics and whatnot. Done some license work for Marvel and DC, and done some Star Wars stuff here and there. I've drawn for a variety of clients as well as colored. Coloring has been my primary gig, probably the last, I'd say, about 10 years now. Colored all sorts of stuff, from Lady Death to other small independent stuff. I've colored some Spider-Man licensed children's books and some licensed game stuff for DC. So I've kind of run the mix as far as all that stuff goes. And then since 2003, my wife and I have been self-publishing our book, Scarlet Huntress. It's a modern day take on Little Red Riding Hood. She's a descendant of Little Red Riding Hood that hunts werewolves and other cryptids and creatures all over the world. And we're gearing up for hopefully sometime early next year to launch Kickstarter to do the next issue, which will finish up the story arc that we've been working on all these years. And,
very cool.
Yeah, I think that about covers all of it.
We have Sideburns in here too. Good day, Peter, and guess Sean.
Hey, thanks for watching us sit here and babble.
Yes. I put definitely your link tree, maybe something else. I forget now. But anything you specifically want me to drop down there, if you want, I could do afterwards. But yeah, it has all your links. I know you've been doing Twitch. Your Twitch is in there. Your YouTube is in there. Your Instagram. All the places people can find you across the internet. Look at your books and your art and buy stuff.
Excellent, much appreciated.
Yeah, my pleasure, man. What's the point of having people on if you can't direct people to that?
Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, that's cool that you'd be doing a Kickstarter for the new book. It's exciting.
Yeah, this will be the 5th Kickstarter, I believe, that we've done. So we're, working on the book and getting all our, ducks in a row so that we can, have everything prepped and ready for when we launch this thing. I'm hoping early spring. It just kind of depends on how much time I've got to work on the book. I want to make sure it's done, or 95% done before we launch the thing.
Yeah, don't make the mistake I made. No, I did a quick Kickstarter back in 2019 just for initial funding. I mean, I had the intention of releasing it that year, but life and whatnot. But I did knowingly go into the Kickstarter because I've been sort of contributed to Kickstarters and even help people with their Kickstarters and help them promote, like, to no benefit to me at all. And I was like, man, I just gotta jump in and get into this game. And I've been working on retro for years at that point even. And I was like, well, if all goes as planned, and like I had somebody come at me with they wanted me to write like a novelization of their character, like 9 actual novels, and they were going to give me an advance on each book and so on and so forth. It didn't pan out, but I was kind of hoping on that to happen because that would have gave me enough breathing room to get my book done in the time that I figured I would get it done. But that sort of fell apart after my Kickstarter. So I was like, oh man, now I gotta get work. But that's the life of a freelancer.
Yep.
But it was a great experience, and it's like now I'm gonna get this book done this year and do a Indiegogo next year. I don't know if you ever done Indiegogo as well, but I plan to do both. Like, this is just one book of many that I'll be crowdfunding. Yeah, it's like I totally believe in crowdfunding. I totally I'm sort of embraced by a whole crowd of people now that are all crowdfunders and have been, seeing how they're doing and doing their books and doing their crowdfunding. And I'm seeing numbers go up and up and up. Like, I did mine 5 days. I made just under 2,000, but I know the potential to make some real money is there. And I'm not shy about working hard and putting in the time. So if I can get some real action going and get some real money coming in, then I could do so much more as a creator and hire more and more people and all that jazz. I'm sure like.
Oh, absolutely. That was the whole reason we dove into doing the crowdfunding, the Kickstarter thing. We did the first one in either 2011 or 2012. And we were very new to it. I hadn't seen a whole lot of comic book projects run on it yet. And we just kind of dove in and just kind of ran with it. And thankfully it was successful, got the book out. But, that was where I quickly learned, yeah, we got to make sure we got much more of the book done before diving into this, because, it never fails with being, a freelancer. It's like, yeah, I just got all this stuff to print and produce the book. And, then other projects come in and it's like, I can't turn those down because it's not like we, made a fortune doing the Kickstarter show. Still have to take on other work while trying to produce the create our own stuff. It definitely sucks up time really quick. And, kind of learned our lesson and got better. Did the second one, had more stuff done, but it still took a while. And it was like, it's slowly progressing, making sure we've got as much of it done as we can before launching the campaign. And so we're diving into this new one, trying to get, all of our stuff ready to go before we, hit that launch button and say, hey, the new book's, going to launch and come out, this date or that. And like you said, there's a lot of potential with the crowdfunding stuff, and our last two went really well. And I've got a number of friends that have done extremely well doing the crowdfunding campaigns and whatnot. So I'm trying to find the ways to best approach it, as well as what's going to give folks their best bang for their buck, basically, that support it. And just going through all that stuff, trying to get that stuff, all those kinks worked out ahead of time, so that hopefully it's successful. Hopefully we can continue to do the creator owned stuff, and like you said, hire folks, bring it on, make it to where it's not like a year or so between issues. Make it to where we can do something close to a few issues a year. That's kind of where we're at right now, is like shooting for goals. So we'll see how it all progresses as we get to
I
it.
mean, it's like every individual creator is their own, small company, and it's all a learning process. And you just build on what you've done before, and try to do better next time. Definitely. With crowdfunding, it's like, it's a real balance to, like, you want to give the fans everything they're asking for, or like what's within what you like to do, and put it out there. But you don't want the whole crowdfunder to be like all your work, like it to take over your life. It's like, I know some like really go crazy, and they're putting everything into it. They're doing action figures and foil covers and all kinds of craziness. And it's like, I don't want to do that much. I want it to be about the book. I want, it's like, I know, like, you want to make better money, but you also don't want to put too much in there.
yeah. You got to find that nice little balance of being able to produce the book, have like some nice goodies per se, the stretch goal things, and whatever's going to entice people to dive in there and support you. But yeah, you don't want to like dig yourself too much of a hole where it's like, okay, yeah, I'm going to do, like you said, the action figures or like the statues or whatever. It's going to add all these extra expenses that is like, that could be a Kickstarter all its own. And
right.
I don't get me wrong, I'd love to have all that stuff, do all that stuff, but I'm trying to have some realistic expectations of, let's get the book done first, and then hopefully these things can trail along later.
Yeah, you don't want to jump into the animated series right off the bat,
Yeah, exactly.
So give people like your elevator pitch for your character, your book.
So like I mentioned, she's a modern day descendant of Little Red Riding Hood. She hunts werewolves, other cryptid creatures around the world. We've got currently 4 full issues of the series that's out, and we have a like companion book that is her actual journal. So it's like in story, she's got a journal where she keeps all the notes of the creatures she runs into and whatnot. So we published a version of that. Like the best way I can think to compare it is if you're a Harry Potter fan, and then they released a book of the Fantastic Beasts and where to find them. It's kind of that concept. It's all from her point of view, what she's come across. You're actually seeing her notes of what she battles, and or maybe befriends, that kind of thing. So that's all wrapped up in like 84 pages. That was our most recent Kickstarter. We we went the whole works on it. It's full color. It's perfect bound. We got a bunch of different guest artists. I think we ended up with like 16 different creators writing and
Yeah.
drawing and whatnot working on it. And we're working on doing this 5th issue that's going to tie up all the storyline stuff. Right now it's close to 40 some pages. I'm going to try to make sure it's a 48 page, like a double sized book. So
Nice.
you'll get that bang for your buck when you support it and get, plenty of story, plenty of artwork. We're going to enlist our friends again to have, all the good fun stretch goal stuff, the prints, the stickers, all the little doodads and widgets that everybody loves. And it's like much like you mentioned earlier, I've had a hand in a number of Kickstarters over the last few years where I've helped out friends running their campaigns in one way or another, whether it be providing artwork for it or just helping get the word out on social media, that kind of thing. So we've kind of
Right.
all been in this position where we trade back and forth and be like, okay, I'll do this for your book. How about you do that for mine? And it's a great like working relationship with a lot of friends where we can basically bounce stuff off of each other and be mutually beneficial when it comes to doing all this crowdfunding stuff. And
Yeah.
it's been a great experience to get to work with everybody, dabble in other folks' IP, and they get to dabble in ours and all that craziness. And yeah, it's just hopefully getting the story out there that folks want to read and enjoy. We've you know I don't know what the count is on the number of books we've done over the last 15 some years that we've been doing the book, but we've had quite a few folks that have really enjoyed it and stuck along with us, even though it's a year or two between issues or even more. I think between issue 1 and issue 2 there was probably like a 5-year gap, but that was
Right.
before we had crowdfunding, so it was a lot more intensive to drop all that cash on getting a print run of books done. So we're trying to make everybody happy, give them the end of that story arc. Plus, make ourselves happy. We finally get to work in a lot of stuff that we wanted to do in the story, get to show off. We're finally at that point. So we're having fun with it as much as we hope folks that are going to read it are going to have fun with it.
Right. Right. Yeah, man, that's awesome. What would you say, like, having how many books behind you, like, what have you learned throughout the years as far as like building a story, building characters, making the actual comics?
As far as making the actual comics, I've learned just how much time and effort goes into it. That it's very difficult being a 2-person operation. So it's been good to bring in friends to help out when we can. Building the character and the story, it's both the character and the story have evolved over time, as same as my wife and I have evolved. And since starting working on the character, our ideas of how to tell the story have improved. Both in the script and telling the story, as well in the artwork. We've both improved on that front, and just picking up, all the, I would say all the classic things I think that most folks would study when it comes to like writing and trying to tell a story. Neither my wife or I got into doing any of this as wanting to be a writer. It was we met in art school. We're both artists.
Nice.
My wife teaches art, and I've been doing the freelance thing for a number of years now. So it's like I never expected to jump in and be a writer. So it wasn't something I really studied, other than just kind of getting a grasp of understanding the medium and how comics work and how to tell a story. But trying to come up with a script and dialogue and all the stuff that goes with it, let's just say at the start I had a rudimentary understanding of how to do it, and it's just like, all right, we'll make it work. Because even my wife,
Right.
with being an artist, she doesn't sit down and write a script. She sits down and like thumbnails the entire thing of what she sees in her
Yeah.
head, and then we reverse engineer it and turn that into a script. But
Right.
she's improved in the sense of like able to take, like, I'll just jot down random notes in my sketchbook of, okay, we need to make sure this works in the story, that works in the story, and I'm trying to now think uh, more on that storytelling front, more of the proper, let's say the proper way to tell a story, of making sure it follows this kind of path, this kind of structure. Um, the Joseph Campbell, hero's journey type thing, working a little bit of that in, working some different ideas of mythology and stuff in there that we've wanted to put into the story. Found ways to make that work by just getting a better grasp of how to tell a story after basically just sitting there and doing it as practice. um like the simple ideas of foreshadowing, those kind of things. It's
Right.
something that, again, never really thought of too much, other than, ooh, it'd be fun to hide cool little Easter eggs here on the page while I'm drawing. And it's like, okay, how can we do that story wise? Like what can we do with, building all this together to build up to, having a bigger impact, a better story to tell. So those are, the little tidbits that we picked up over the years, you know, just learning by doing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like I was into comics when I was young, and I was into art mostly. Later, when I got into college, I was into writing. But it's like I jumped into a day job, and for 10 years I did something entirely different than comics. But then it's like comics came up, and it was like, okay, I'm making a commitment. Like I'm 28, and I haven't taken anything seriously, but I want to do this for a living. So let me jump in 100%. So it's like I had thoughts of a little bit of everything, like doing a little bit of everything, but I jumped in as an anchor. And now, 30 years into my career, it's like I'm glad to finally get my first book out shortly, and really, like, like do as you do. Like, I'm gonna learn a lot along the way as you do it. And definitely, like, I've read I've read tens of thousands of comics in my lifetime. There's definitely no, like, what's good, what works, in my own opinion, and kind of just find a way to do that myself. Like this page, like you were talking about, like dropping things in. So this is a random character that just shows up only for this page. But it's like I wanted to do that because I knew it's like I want to revisit him later, and he's going to be some sort of bigger villain, over time, and we'll get little snippets of him along the way. Just like they did in the old comics I read.
Oh yeah.
It's like little fun stuff, and it's definitely like the whole learning by doing and by creating is the joy of it. It's like, it's like I definitely got a lot to learn. It's like I don't know how to do a lot of things, but then it's like I have friends who do know how to do certain things. Like, I'm gonna have somebody to help me with book design, not because I don't know how to set up a book visually in an interesting way and make it pleasing and all that, but because I don't know the technical, like, programs they use and blah 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 and all that. Then how do you size it? And all, it's like, I'll let somebody else do it.
Yeah, that was honestly one of like the biggest struggles when we like first decided to self-publish. It was like, I don't know how to set up these files to go to a printer. There wasn't. There was like two options at the time of doing like print on demand, where we didn't have to go to some giant printer and spend all these pre-press fees and all these other added things. It was like, how do we do this cost effective? And that was stuff that we taught ourselves. That thankfully there were companies that were coming out that were doing the print on demand stuff, and they put up little FAQs on their website that were extremely beneficial to get us going. And now we learned better ways to do that. And like lettering, we've lettered all of our own stuff, and now it's like we're at a point, I think we can afford to hire somebody that really knows what they're doing. And that's our hope and goal for doing the next book is getting a letter that's much more competent than we are, that it's going to make it look good, make it make the entire package look better than if it were just the two of us doing it.
Yeah, if anything, like because of technology and advancement and everything, it's like I remember like comics from the 70s weren't too good, like independent wise, as far as the half the letters page, like credits page, were handwritten. It's like, what is this? This is like a zine level quality. Like,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's I look back now at the first couple of books we did, and I definitely cringe. And it's like, ooh, at some point somebody's gonna want us to put these together in a trade. I'm gonna have to go back and rework a lot.
Yeah. Which definitely, I see a lot of creators do that. Like even there's one webcomic, Trying Human, I follow, and she's like actually redrawing pages, like the early pages, because she's like, I'm so embarrassed by this.
Yeah, and that's my plan. If we get to the point where we're going to try to go back and do a collection of everything, it's like, yeah, some of the stuff needs to be redrawn. Definitely needs some new letters and spots. And well, it's now we've been doing the last few books in color, whereas the first few were black and white, because that was what was cost effective at the time. And it's like, yep, now all those pages are also going to need colored.
Right. Yeah. So you also do a lot of you were mentioning commissions, cover art, like not what am I thinking? The we get blank covers of books and draw on them. I don't even do that. I haven't done that. but I'm like, at some point I got to do that. So is that I know it's like it's tricky in the sense of because the quality of the covers is definitely like not as good as like Bristol paper or whatever. So you got to work to the strengths of the paper. Okay.
yeah, you hit the nail on the head there. You got to work towards the strength of the paper, and sometimes it's definitely riding the struggle bus when somebody hands you one of those books at a con and they're like, hey, can you do a commission of such and such on this cover, and you get to drawing it and it takes pencil just great. Then you go and try to ink it, and the ink like sits on top of the paper and like doesn't necessarily dry all the way, or it doesn't take marker, whereas 95% of those covers will take marker just fine, but you can't hit it with like watercolor. If you hit it with watercolor, it wrinkles up and destroys the whole thing. And one of the big things was folks doing these blank covers for commissions and whatnot is they like to go get them graded through CGC or CBCS. So when you get, watercolor going on there and the paper starts to ripple up, it's like, well, they're not going to want to get this graded now. So it's trying to find the right tools for the job and trying to see what stuff fits, because it's like sometimes I'll sit there and not really pay attention to what's on the cover as far as like where the masthead is and all that kind of stuff, and I'll rough something out and go, well, that's not going to fit on there, So I've gotten into a pretty good habit of I take the book and I lay it on a piece of paper and just kind of rough in, okay, here's where the masthead's going to be and maybe the corner box or whatever. I'll sit there and sketch it out and then actually light box my little sketch onto the cover itself, just so I've got a good idea of where I can put stuff and whatnot.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a challenge at times trying to get certain stuff to work on there. There's some covers I've worked on that absolutely nothing sticks to it, and I had somebody a few years back handed me a cover at a convention and said, do a sketch of this for me. I get home and come to find out, like, I couldn't get a pencil to work on it. I couldn't get anything to stick to it whatsoever. It was super slick, coated in some sort of varnish or whatever, and ended up having to get in touch with them and be like, I'll refund you unless you want me to do a sketch on a different book, because nothing will stick on here. I even took some light sandpaper to it, and it was almost like trying to draw on a piece of plastic.
Yeah.
And so it was like, we'll figure out something else to make this work.
Get some acrylic paint on it.
Yeah, and it's like sometimes that's where like I kind of get down to is like I can paint on this, but it's gonna take a lot of time, and I don't think folks would like the price tag of painting on it for the time it would take.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, it's definitely the quality of the paper affects it deeply. I mean, being an inker and throughout the years, I've inked over a bunch of different pencilers, and man, it's like the quality of the paper I got throughout the years, and it's like I did work for Mullen DC at one point, and Claim, not Claim, well, it was later owned by Acclaim, Valiant, and as well as a billion independent publishers and comics. But the quality of paper, even like I've heard people mention, like this is the same batch of paper that I got paper from previously, but this paper sucks as opposed to that paper was excellent, and it's really, really difficult to always get the same paper again and again and again and again. I've known artists that go into the office and just get a huge stack of paper when they found good paper. Time is everything.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I've worked on some bad paper, and it's like I'm always like, look, I'll do my best, but the quality of work is going to be affected because you're giving me crappy paper to work on.
Right.
And that was before computers, before digital, before like I had any other choice but to just ink on the paper, like, because I never got into light boxing.
Right.
No, light boxing is an option for people, and hey, kudos to them. But to me, it was always like looking into a light, and my eyes couldn't dig it.
Yeah, it definitely causes more strain, and it takes way longer to try to do that. I totally get folks when they're like, yeah, no, I'm gonna do it this way, or it's not getting done, or whatever.
Yeah. So, who's your favorite character to draw?
I'm a big Spider-Man nut. It's actually what I was thinking about drawing while we were going to chat here, but I changed it up last second, and I'm a big nut for He-Man, Conan, any of like the barbarian type stuff. I just love that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So those are usually my go-tos.
Yeah, great.
Like I said, I love any of the Spider-Man stuff, and I love doing anything from his rogues gallery. Any of the villains are a lot of fun.
Did you see? I just saw the newest trailer last night. Did you see the new trailer for Spider-Man?
Yes.
And yeah, it's sort of dropping that like the Sinister Six are going to be in it.
Yeah, definitely.
It's funny because it's like I'm looking forward to that movie. It's like I don't like 100% of what they done in the recent Spider-Man movies. I love Tom Holland as Spider-Man, and that's the juice that gets me there.
Yeah.
Everything else is some of it's good, some of it's unquestionable. But I'm definitely interested. It seems like the writing is a little goofy sometimes, but whatever. Nothing's perfect. I will enjoy it, I'm sure. And I'm definitely excited that, for however long they're in the movie, that will be like, the other Spider-Man, and there are all those interesting Spider-Man villains that will be showing up. So
yeah, I'm pumped to watch it. Like I said, Spider-Man's usually my go-to for like pretty much anything, and
yeah.
Like I'm excited to see what they're doing. I think I've watched the trailer a handful of times since last night, and I was sitting here working, and I was listening to like some YouTube stuff where they were like, like, oh, it looks like this is going on and this is going on in the trailer and things like that. Just doing the little breakdowns and stuff, and it's like, all right, let's just see what happens.
Yeah. I mean, it's, man, I got into a real thing of like, because COVID happened and I was bored out of my mind. It's like nothing's really changed for us guys, right? Like we work at home, like it's like day in, day out. This is where we are, what we're doing. But I got into a real habit of listening to all the movie news and speculation, and oh man, I guess I took in too much, because now I'm like, just want to throw up when I hear speculation. Just show me the movie. I don't want to guess as to what's going to happen. But it is fun. It is fun. It's like, for however much I don't want to see a lot of what's happening in movies I do already know I want to go see, I can't stop watching the trailer.
Yeah, no, I'm the same way. It's like I don't want anything spoiled. I'll sit there and listen to anybody's theories of what they think is going to go on. But yeah, I like, it gets to a certain point, and it's like, okay, I'm not going to pay attention to anything else. I want to be surprised with what's going on in the movie, because they inevitably will put out a commercial that's got way too much information in it.
Yeah.
And so it's like I'm glad that the way they're doing the promotion for Spider-Man No Way Home, where it's like, we're like a month out from the movie, and we've only gotten the second trailer. We don't have a ton of stuff to spoil anything, and we can sit there and guess all day long as to what the heck's going to happen in the movie. But I think they've kept it tight enough that it's like, well, just about anything could go on right about now. They haven't put too much stuff out there to be like, yep, so the movie's going to go like this, and that's going to happen, and that's going to happen, and then Galactus is going to show up at the end and eat everybody.
Oh man, you ruined it.
I know.
If he shows up, I'll be pissed now.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
If he shows
man.
up,
It's,
I
you
need to
know,
go buy a lottery ticket.
yeah. um, it's you know, it's easy to get excited for the movies. I happen to, you know, like I'll watch the movies. It's like I love these characters growing up, and you know, it's like I don't read as much as I used to. Definitely not. And if I read anything, it's independent books. It's everything I pick up now is probably 90% crowdfunded. Um, so I'm not picking up Mullen DC, and I do know like a lot of what they got going on anyway when has been going south, whatever. But you know, I'm not necessarily hating on them, but I'm definitely like behind everybody who's out there making their own books. It's like I always picked up independent comics even back in the day. You know, it's like I'm big fans of Colleen Duran's A Distant Soil, Mike Barron, Steve Rude, Nexus. You know, the Pennies with the ElfQuest. I mean, so many great books, and even like you know, obviously like back in the day, heavy metal was really hot. That was great work. And you know, it wasn't mainstream Marvel DC stuff. You know, and they still have great characters and whatnot. And you know, kudos to them. They're companies that won't disappear anytime soon. They got giant corporate conglomerates, you know, powering them. You know, good for them. But yeah, I'm interested in those, you know, independent creators out there that are passionate about their books. Oh, in fact, before I forget, like I do have a group on Facebook. I don't know if you're in, but it's called Creator Owned Comics Group. I guess is the full title. Um, and there everybody just goes and promotes their own books and whatnot. It's not really, you know, every once in a while I go in there and you know, delete a few posts that are incorrect. Mostly it's like things that don't show up or things that are double posted. Sometimes you post something and it shows up double. But yeah, if you're not in there, I'll send you a link later, and or it's, you know, it's in my videos too. For anybody who has crowdfunders, yeah, it's like most of the people that post are currently crowdfunding or selling their book or selling merchandise. You know, I just want to, you know, I want to help as many people as I can, as well as do my own books. And you know, if I do this for the rest of my life, I'll be happy.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I think I am part of the group, but I'll double check that. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I've been very fortunate for the last couple of years to get to work with a bunch of folks that are doing creator owned stuff. That, you know, that's the kind of stuff that's, you know, I've been into for reading, but it's also that's been what's been paying my bills, and been very fortunate to work with some really successful folks that have, you know, taken hold of the whole crowdfunding thing and ran with it. Um, and you know, I've dabbled in it here so far, and um, you know, gotten to help a bunch of my peers, you know, dive into it, and or, you know, at least get their stuff out there and get it seen, and um, you know, get that experience of, you know, doing the crowdfunding stuff. Um, and it's very much like revolutionized is the best word I can come up with for what it's done for comics here lately. It's a buddy and I used to talk all the time about, you know, the like mid late 80s indie boom, and you know what it did going through the 90s, and you know, basically getting the guys to start Image Comics and all that stuff, where where everybody was doing their own creator owned their IP, getting it out there, publishing it, and it seems like there's that boom going again because all these different creators are going out, getting their work out there, whether it's crowdfunding or doing the online like webcomic type thing, and all the new stuff that have kind of like spun out of that. And it's fantastic to see it happen, and it's fantastic to be part of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I dabbled with webcomics, and it's something I definitely want to get back to with the certain creations that are going on. But it's like I only posted up like 2 different comics, maybe 6 pages each max. But it was like, it's a lot of work, and anything you gotta, much like you do a Kickstarter, you gotta plan this stuff in advance and have a backlog ready. I'm kind of, it's like I'm a solo creator here. I got nobody helping me. It's a lot to take on. And it's like, even just to post something can take hours out of your day. And it's like, you got to be utterly aware of these things before you jump in and plan for it all and sort of like make it work for you. Like, I'm sure it's like, I don't know, like early in my career, for the most part, for the first 10 years, definitely, like what I did was I'd look for a job, get a job, do the job, take a minute break, and then look for the next job. Right now, my career is completely different, where I got so much going on. I got too much going on. I got too many gigs with too many people. I got too many things of my own going on. So it's the complete opposite. But I'm sort of doing that to push myself, like, because I need to handle more. And the only way you can handle more is to actually have that going on. But yeah, it's the struggle of just having a good day after good day after good day as a creator. I'm sure is a major struggle for some people.
Oh yeah. And
how do you feel about your production level, your capability?
I feel pretty confident in like how much I'm able to take on during a day, and at times I definitely take on too much and struggle with, like, okay, I took on one too many things. How do I find the time to make sure this is all done by the deadline, or all done so I can go do this or that, and that I definitely struggle with at times. Whether it be like, I took on, like, oh, somebody needs some covers colored, and then I might add one more to the mix thinking I can do it, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh shoot, we're supposed to go do this over the weekend. Well, I gotta put in a couple extra hours here and there to make sure that that's off my plate so we can go do that. And I've thankfully been at this long enough now where, like, I know what I can typically take on in a day, and how much time it's going to take approximately, and all that jazz, and get it figured out. And then it just becomes a balancing act of, like, making sure, okay, if I take on this much stuff, do I have free time in the evening? Do I get to sleep? And that's what it kind of boils down to, with being a freelancer, as you're well aware of. It's always finding that nice balance of, okay, I'm getting enough work done, it's taking care of the bills, and I can sleep, eat, and maybe relax here and there.
Are you somebody that needs to always be busy, or you always have something going on, or you can relax easy, or you're like the opposite? You just not sweat it?
Yeah, I'm usually one of the folks that feels like I always got to be busy, and it's definitely a struggle at times to just relax. Like
Yeah.
like with the holidays, with going out of town or going somewhere else that's not home and not being around the studio, it's like, okay, I'm bored. I don't know what to do right now. I've got an hour of sitting here twiddling my thumbs. Um, and that for me is a struggle. Because if I were at home and be like, okay, I can watch TV, but even if I'm watching TV, I might end up pulling out Sketchbook or the iPad to sit there and doodle an idea that jumps into my head. And
Right.
and especially if there's like downtime and there's waiting for a project to come in or something like that. That's also a struggle because it's like, okay, now what do I do all day? Um, and I try to like come up with things to fill in those gaps here and there where I can.
Definitely. That's why, like, I suggest to like anybody who doesn't have their own IP in any shape or form, like, should create something on the side of doing work for others at least. Like, to have something of your own that, one, it's a benefit financially. Like, you can always be selling some product. Like, even if you're working for the major companies, like as an artist, writer, colorist, whatever, you can always, like, at conventions say, hey, I also do this on the side, and if you like my coloring or whatever, like, check it out and maybe pick it up. It's always good to have something of your own you could sell, because then you can sell it for the rest of your life.
Yes, yes. That's a great tip that I think it took me a while to come to that realization, I guess. Like, just
Yeah.
knowing that, oh, hey, if I go to a convention, then yeah, I've got all this stuff that I worked on, but hey, I can also actually have my own property sitting here.
Yep.
It's one more thing to have there that hopefully entices folks to come over, check it out, whatnot.
Oh, which brings up, reminds me, like, the other thing I had down below was mention of two conventions you got coming up. One, I believe, was C2E2.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'll be at C2E2. It's I think the 10th through the 12th are the dates. It's the second weekend of December. Anybody not familiar with it? It's Chicago. What is it? Chicago Comics and Entertainment Expo is what its like full name is. So I'll be there Friday through Sunday for the con. And the day before, Thursday, I'll be doing an in-store appearance at Clan McDonald Comics, which is in Naperville, which is just outside Chicago area.
Nice.
So we're gonna do like a live sale, and not sure what all else is on the plate yet for the event. We'll do that the Thursday, and then Thursday evening, I'm doing the Hero Initiative drink and draw at the hotel attached to the McCormick Center where they host C2E2. So I'll be drawing for the charity for a couple hours. And then, for the con, I'll be there for the weekend. I'll be in Artist Alley. We don't have table numbers yet, but you can get a hold of me through any of the social media stuff to find out where I'm going to be and all that as it gets closer. I'll be doing commissions. I'll have all the books with me, all the typical con paraphernalia.
Do you do like commissions throughout the convention, or you like to do maybe a couple and interact with the people more? Like, how do you work it?
I am typically the person that does them throughout the con. However, in the last couple of years, I've gotten more to the point where, yeah, I'd like to take it a little easier at the con and not try to kill myself throughout the day trying to get them done, and take them home a little bit more if possible, and or maybe work on them in the hotel a little bit more. because I like to spend time on them. I like to give folks something, that they're going to enjoy, not rush something.
Yeah. I mean, it's called a convention sketch because, it's like, this is what I could do really quick and where I'm not like 100% concentrating on it.
Yeah. And that's my thing is like, I'm, constantly up and down talking to somebody that's at the table, or, somebody wants to pick up something. So I'm, standing up dealing with that and then try to sit back down and draw. And it's like, I can't ever like put enough focus on it to where I'm happy with it. So it's like I feel a little bit happier when it's like, let me do them in advance and I'll deliver them, or let me take this home and spend some real time on it.
Yeah, totally get you. So, have you done conventions this year so far?
I've done just a small handful off the top of my head. I want to say like 3 so far this year.
Oh,
I
mean, that's more than 3 more than me. Yeah, it's been a while since I've done convention, but I also like, beyond just my own book, I plan to get like probably a dozen books out next year. More of my own books, but also other people's books I'm working on. And I really want to like finish all that work. Will take me all of next year probably. And then really get back into conventions when I have like new stuff I want to promote and sell and whatnot. What was I going to say? Oh, I did set up. I'd never been to Heroes Convention, but I am going to be there. It looks like next year with my friend Randy Bishop, who does the book Hawk of New York. We're going to be working on the next issue together, and we'll both be at a table at Heroes Con, which is in late June, I believe. So I'm really looking forward to that because I've always heard good things, and I have like specific friends that are in that area that always go there, and be exciting to see them, and just meet a different crowd of people. Because I mean, most of what I've done is New York conventions. Since I've been in Kentucky since 2006, I've done a bunch around here. So it's always good to be at new locations and meet with new networking people as well as fans and all that.
Oh yeah. It's been a while. It's been probably like good 10 years or more since I've been down there. But yeah, I really enjoyed Heroes. We did it. I think we only did it the one time, and it just has been a bear for us to try to get back down there to do it again. But I really enjoyed it. It's a neat atmosphere. Great bunch of fans that are there all the time. So I think you'll have a blast there. But yeah, I definitely enjoy getting out to cons and getting to network, getting to see friends, getting to just get out and have that experience of meeting new people through doing all this stuff. It's I don't know. It's part of the fun of doing this.
Most definitely. I mean, you mentioned C2E2. I don't know. Like I've been to a Chicago convention. I'm not sure. I think it was Wizard. That's what I'm thinking of. It was it was Wizard before C2E2 took over. I don't even know like if Wizard's still doing Chicago or if Wizard exists. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't keep up with things.
They still have a Wizard convention, but up until this year, I think it either just happened or is about to happen, and it's their last one because they ended up getting bought out by the company that does all the fan expos, I believe.
Right.
C2E2's been there, I want to say like 11, 12 years now, something like that.
Yeah.
The Wizard World Chicago Con has always been held in a suburb out in Rosemont, whereas
Yeah.
C2E2 is actually downtown Chicago at the McCormick Center, and it's
Right.
run by Reed Exhibitions, Reed Pop, whatever.
That do the big New York one, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, that was the only time I believe that I did Chicago, and it's like tabling next to a friend of mine who's, like, we purposely did the con together. We didn't know we'd be sitting close to each other. And that was Mike Turney's last year. So I was fortunate enough to, like, actually as we were heading out, he was walking past us, and he took the time. Such a sweet guy. He took the time to not only talk to us, but he was like, "Oh, it's a great meeting all of you." And I mean, I have never, like, met somebody so sweet. And, like, he was on crutches at the time, because that was his last convention appearance. And like, he was holding the door for us as we were leaving. I was like, "Come on, Mike, you don't need to do this." He was so funny.
I was there for that convention, and I actually ran into him trying to get off an elevator, and he was again super great, sweet guy. He helped us get off the elevator because we were trying to get out to load our stuff into the car, and
Right.
One of the carts that we were taking stuff got stuck in the little trench in the elevator at the doors. He was actually nice enough to come help, like, get the thing, unwedged from the elevator and get it out. So it's, just, one of those oddball, con experiences of, getting ready to leave and running into somebody like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, again, it's like just getting to see folks, at cons, and, getting all the different experiences over the years is like, it not only gives you tons of stories to tell all the time or whatever, but just, great memories.
Yeah, it's like there's great people in this industry, and
Oh yeah.
I know, like, things have gotten way too PC and sensitive around the world. But I still just, it's always great to meet up with other creators and just geek out and talk about the things we love and what we do, and and just enjoy it. Like, it's like it's
Oh
the
yeah,
best. So we've been going. Oh, we're already over an hour. If there's anything that you want to talk about, mention that we haven't even addressed, or even if we have, like, it's your floor.
I mean, I think we've covered, like, everything that, like, I think I'd bring up or mention or whatever, but just again, say thanks for bringing me on, and say thanks to the folks that have watched, and hopefully folks will watch this later, whatever.
Yeah.
And yeah, you've got all my social media stuff in the whatever you call the little box with all the details and whatnot.
Description.
Find me, follow me, message me, all that good stuff.
Yeah. Showing up live, you never know who will show up. Sometimes it's, we get a crowd, sometimes not. I don't do these on a regular basis, on a regular schedule, so it's completely random. So sometimes, but this video will get watched, and I already shared it out, and everybody's got a different schedule. It's like, I know I watch more videos after the fact than I do live videos myself.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, in the video description box below the video, I got a ton of my own links, but I put Sean's there. The link tree has most everything you could possibly find Sean everywhere online. And definitely mention of the 2 conventions he's got coming up. So keep a close watch on his, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I'm sure you'll post, hey, it's coming up in a few days. Come check me out. If you're in the neighborhood, go see him live and in person.
Excellent. Thank you.
My pleasure, man. My pleasure. And definitely, I want to have you on when your Kickstarter goes live. We'll talk all about the project and the specific Kickstarter you got going on. Promote the hell out of it for you.
Awesome, man. That'd be awesome. Yeah. I'll keep you posted as we get closer to getting that thing up and running. And yeah, we'll definitely make plans for that.
Excellent. All right, everybody. Thank you for watching. If you haven't already, please give this video a like so I know what you like and it gets seen across the YouTubes that much better. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Share this video out so that more people could see it, your friends and family and all that. And yeah, I'll be streaming here again soon. This is like page 25, as I mentioned early on. This is 1 of 4 pages I got left to finish off. So you can watch me finish off the first issue of Retro, a character I freaking created in my late teens. Finally getting around to putting together first issue. So yeah, encourage me on, please. But yeah, thanks everybody, and I'll see you again soon.